All right, Shalom. This is Kanaksa Banyasha Allah from the GMS Lions Den Camp. First and foremost, I'd like to say Ka Halayu, La Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Harakakodash Ma'ma. That's giving all glory and praise to Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai and his truth, the holy truth, all right, which separates us from society, all right, makes us set apart, sanctified, all right. Peace and I want to say give double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the Akim that are pushing this truth and sincerity and truth, and peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, I just want to do a quick lesson talking about this deity right here, Ra, this Egyptian so-called god of the sun, and I just recently started a job, a new job, and I ran into somebody that I once knew in the past, and they asked me what type of time I've been on. I've been letting them know I've been on the word, on the scriptures. All right, and from that point on, he started following me around the job and trying to express his views. I just laid it all out there, like the Most High's name Yahweh, His Son's name Yahweh Shai. Christianity and the Bible are two totally different. They're polar opposites, and he just kept trying to denounce the Bible. And so I was like, we're not going to be able to find any common ground because there's no way that I'm gonna, Lord willing, be worshiping no deity like this, is idol worship. And I was explaining that to him, and he was just basically telling me it's history, and the sun is the most powerful thing in the earth and the most powerful being out there. And I'm like, yo, you really believe that? There's nothing past that. Well, how did the sun get here? And he was like basically saying we don't have facts about that. But, if that's the case, matter of fact, I want to get a scripture real quick. All right. This is John chapter 3, verse 12. Because when I was trying to explain the things to him, about Yahweh being the only power, there's no power beside him. He kept trying to say that, oh, those aren't facts. There's no facts behind it. Well, like you have to have some sort of, discernment and understanding beyond the elements and the rudiments of the earth to be able to understand heavenly things. This is John chapter 3, verse 12. It said, this is Yahushua talking. If I have told you earthly things and ye believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you of heavenly things? And that's the point. I was telling him our placement here on this earth, and he couldn't really understand that. So there's no way he can understand where the sun came from. So that's the only thing he can get. He can only be in the carnal mind and, not get an understanding of anything beyond this realm. So he would not be. That's why the Egyptians can't get an understanding of anything beyond this realm because, they have no spirituality within them. They don't believe in a superior being. They don't believe in a higher power. They just believe what they see on here on earth. That's why when, back in the ancient days, when the pharaohs and the rich men of Egypt would get buried, they would get buried in the tomb with all their possessions, richly earthly possessions. Right? But we all know that we can't take anything with them, but we can take with us is wisdom that we obtain here on this earth through the Spirit. All right? So you gather as much information as you can while you're here. And when you pass on and go back to the Father and you're sitting back down, part of that information, well, the whole, everything that you collect will still be instilled within you, but it'll take something for it to spark off and ignite. All right. So he can't even understand earthly things. So how is he going to understand the explanation of things that go on in the heavens or beyond? So this is the deity that he says that, I should be following behind, that we all should be following behind. But what he doesn't realize is all these things go back to ancient Babylon. And, and then the reason why, like, for you Christians, you're celebrating a different form of the, matter of fact, let's go to this real quick. It says solar deity, a solar deity, also sun god or sun goddess. See, that just shows the confusion right there. You have different entities that's supposed to be superior unto everything else, a god or a goddess. That's but the Most High is not an author of confusion. All right, it says is a sky deity who represents the sun or an aspect of it, usually by its perceived power and strength. All right, so you notice how it says perceived power and strength because we feel the heat and the gamma rays and the UV rays all collectively coming together and penetrating the firmament, creating a prism. I'm not going to go too deep into that. Um, that's what we feel as power. But the Most High, his eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, and he created the sun, so he is all power. All right, but see, people will worship the sun because they feel the power of the sun, and then you have to think during these times when the sun would go down and the moon would come up. You know, a lot of nocturnal animals would come out, and it would be havoc going on. Like you know how the song say the freaks come out at night. So people would be afraid at the nighttime because they're afraid in darkness. And if you think about it from a spiritual sense, we have people. This is a form of darkness, all right, because it's a way void of understanding. All right, it says solar deities and sun worship can be found throughout most of recorded history in various forms. The sun is sometimes referred to be its Latin name, Sol, or by its Greek name, Helos. The English word sun stems from Proto-Germanic. All right, so this has been going on for generations and generations. These people worshiping the sun, moon, planets, and the stars. All right, and that goes all the way back to ancient Babylon, and who else really took hold of that was the Greeks and the Romans. All right, that's where all these different planets and different um, space or sky deities, you have being named as your days of the week and your months of the year. And but the Most High tells you not to worship the things here on earth. Don't worship the creation. Worship the Creator. All right, because He's given more power into us than He has done. You know what I'm saying? All of His creations. Okay. As a matter of fact, let me. All right. This is Genesis. Shlokia. This is Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. It says, in the beginning, Yahweh, well, the powers, we all know that's Elohim, which means plural. All right. In the beginning, the powers created the heaven and the earth. And who was that? That was Yahweh Shai and the host of angels, and the elect. All right. That was created before the foundations of the earth was even created. So if you think about it, we were here before the sun was even here. So how can you worship something that's beneath you, even though we've been placed in chains of darkness and we're under the sun? All right, spiritually, we're surpassed that. Okay, it says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the spirit of Yahweh moved upon the face of the waters. All right, and the spirit of Yahweh, we are all from the spirit of Yahweh. Okay. All right, through Yahweh Shai, through the adoption of sons. All right, it says, and Yahweh said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Okay, and that's when the sun was created. But on the fourth day, He gave it the order. Like this is what you do. This is your purpose. This is your journey every day. You go up and beyond the horizon. This is what your expectation. This is your lot. All right, He established a lot, but He created it on the first day. All right, those lights were the sun and the moon. All right, but we created it. Well, Yahweh Shai, was given the power through Yahweh to create. And the holy angels. So how can you worship something that's really you help create in a sense? You know, like I said before, you should worship the Creator, not the creation. That's more like that's just idol worship. Worshiping something that was created, not worshiping something that's a creator. Okay? All right, let me get This is Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. It says, Hear ye the word which the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. All right? Because this is heathen worship, because the Africans are not our people. The Egyptians are not our people. And then I went on to ask them, well, what was Africa before it was called Africa by the so-called white man? What was the name of Egypt before it was Egypt? And Egypt is known as a house of bondage. So Egyptology worship or Kemetic worship is really, worship of darkness. You're putting yourself back into bondage, back into slavery. Because what does Scripture say? The truth shall set you free. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. All right. So it says, "Be not dismayed," you know, by the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So basically, you're taking the ways of the heathen. You're partaking in the ways of the heathen by worshiping these deities. And the Most High already destroyed the gods of Egypt anyway. And you got Esau that picked them up. And if you think about it, there's different forms and ways of worshiping the sun. All right, this is one of them. All right, now look at this. Christianity. It's the worship of the sun god. It all goes back, to Babylon. Let's see. You see that? It's sun worship. You see this? This is the devil. You always notice around his head, right? He has that aura. See that? And you see the sun rays coming out? All right, this is the devil. I mean, sun worship is actually just devil worship. It's demonic. All right? See that? Look at that. That's the same thing as hold on a second. Slacky, hold on. That's no different than this. That's just the ancient form of Hail Zeus. All right? The Son of God. But see, when we're talking about the Son, we're talking about a direct being coming from the Father, all right, which has all knowledge and all wisdom and all understanding. And it has nothing to do with the actual physical sun, S-U-N, or S-O-L. These were brought forth by man, all right, because they couldn't get any understanding of anything in the heavens. But the Most High gave us understanding of the elements, of the light, of the things that are in heaven that make up the solar system, that make up this earth and beyond. So we were given the understanding of that, Matter of fact, all right, this is Sirach chapter 43, verse 2. It says, The sun, when it appeareth, declaring at his rising a marvelous instrument, the work of the Most High. It says that's just it, the work of the Most High. All these are creations of the Most High. So that's why he gets pissed off, because we're around here creating things worshiping things that, well, not us. Well, you have people around here worshiping things that were created for us rather than worshiping the creator of those things that were created for us. That's just the point. You have to go beyond the carnal realm and get into the spirituality to understand the things that go on outside the solar system, outside the earth. Because that's where the Most High dwelleth. That's where the holy angels dwell. That's where Yahushua is right now, sitting on the throne in the heavens. All right. At noon, it pitches the country, and who can abide the burning and heat thereof? At noon, it's at this highest point in the sky, and it's hot, and it's all power. But matter of fact, Yeah, at noon. Hold that thought real quick. Hold that thought real quick. All right. It's at its highest point and it's powerful, right? That he can feel the heat from it. All right, he can feel the energy from it. This is Sirach 23:19. It says, "Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts." And you know, the eyes are talking about the angels, the elect, and his eyes. You know, so even at noonday, when you see the sun at its highest point, all right, it still can't compare to the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It says, verse Sirach 43:4. It says, "A man blowing a furnace is in works of heat, but the sun burneth the mountains 3 times more, breathing out fiery vapors and sending forth bright beams, prism. It demiseth the eye." So the power that we feel from the sun that can be nowhere in comparison to the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And he gave us the scriptures to get a true total understanding of his works in the heavens. All right. Let me get Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 1. It says, "Now therefore hearken, O Israel, unto the statutes and to the judgments which I teach you, for to do them, that ye may live and go in and possess the land which the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, power of our fathers, giveth you. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your power, which I command you." So Moses was explaining to us the laws and everything. But once you get an understanding of the laws and have that faith, that's when other things beyond the earthly realm will be revealed unto you. But you have to sustain yourself on this side first. All right, through the scriptures. All right, but you can't add on with your own beliefs of man to to these things, or take away because of your beliefs and your feelings. All right, and just because you read something in a book, all right, because he wants to tell me that he's read all these different kinds of books, and that's what makes everything factual because of the books that he read. But that doesn't make it as facts. Show me and explain to me, because I can read things in the Bible and I can show them and explain to you in relations to other books. And what makes it more concrete in the Bible has prophecy in it. None of these other books that you're reading, all they have is hypothesis. But the accounts that have happened in the Bible have been proven, have been come to pass. And the majority of these accounts were written before they happened. It's a prophetic book and also a history book. All right. If you didn't understand the Bible, you wouldn't know that the Byzantine Empire, the so-called Dark Ages, was ruled by Jake. All right. You wouldn't know that. All right. You wouldn't know that. But the scriptures break all that down to you. All right. It says, "Your eyes have seen," Slakia, this is Deuteronomy 4:3. It says, "Your eyes have seen what the Lord did because of Baal Peor. For all the men that follow Baal Peor," and that's basically the same thing, worshiping the sun. It says, "The Lord thy power have destroyed them from among you." And that's what he's going to do once again. He's going to destroy all the gods of the earth, right? The idols. It says, "But ye that did cleave unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai, your power, are alive, every one of you this day." All right. And alive how? If through the Spirit, according to was the Revelation chapter 11, saying their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city 3 days and a half. All right, but life entered into our body. What life? The breath of life. That understanding of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But some of us still remain dead. All right. It says Deuteronomy 4:5. "Behold, I have taught you statutes, judgments, even as the Lord my power commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whether ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them. This is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of nations. The nations which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise nation and wise and understanding people. Why? Because understanding what the law, statutes, commandments that Yahweh placed upon this earth, all right, puts us in a state of mind where we can receive the things that were given from heaven. All right. It says, verse 7, it says, for what nation is there so great who hath Yahweh, who hath power so nigh unto them, as the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, our power is in all things that we can call upon him for. He's within all things. Okay? But you have to have a true understanding to get it. Okay? It says, and what nation is there so great that have statutes and judgment so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day? You see, because you have people worshiping the sun, worshiping the moon, and if you think about it, the moon, the sun, you can't even. All right, the sun gives an amount of light, and it's part of the growth of vegetation and things like that. And we do get vitamin E, D, one of them from the sun, right? But look at the glory behind the moon. Both were set to do their own lot. Both have their own glory. All right. But the sun and the moon, matter of fact, all right, the moon also has a purpose too. If you think about it, the moon does more than more than the sun does. All right, we can get more from the moon, is in certain instances than we can get from the sun, because the gravitational pull from the moon controlling the tide. We can calculate times from the moon, months from the moon. Your new moon is a new month. You can't get that from the sun, but neither are them to be worshipped though. All right. This is Sirach chapter 4. Chapter 43, verse 4, it says, a man blowing a furnace is in works of heat, but the sun burneth the mountains 3 times more, breathing out fiery vapors and sending forth bright beams. It dimmeth the eyes. Great is the Lord that made it, and at his commandment runneth hastily. All right. He made it, and at his commandment, he commanded the sun to do those rays that you feel from the sun. The Most High commanded, gave the sun the order to do that. All right. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. See, from the moon is the sign of feast and light that declareth in her perfection. All right, so that's how we can tell when to celebrate the Passover. We can look up at the moon. That's when we know the new moon feast. That way we can declare the Sabbath. So all these people that are going from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, you worship Phreus and Saturn. All right, but we're supposed to follow the cycles of the moon. Why? Not to worship it, but as a declaration of time, so we can know when we're supposed to do our holy days. All right. All right, back to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 9. It says, only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently. And how do we do that? We study these scriptures, right? It says, study to show thyself approved. All right. So we study these scriptures and write it plain upon tables. Meaning, doing these videos, going out there on the highways and byways and teaching people so they can, whoever is for to get a true understanding of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, they can get it. And who it's not for, they're not going to get it. All right. It says, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, unless they depart from thy heart all the ways. The heart is talking about the mind. All right. It says the eye is the light of the body, and they seen the glory of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. And he's above the firmament. I'm going to get to that in a minute too. It says, lest thou depart from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. So we're supposed to be teaching this to our children, man. All right. Especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, thy power in Horeb, when the Lord said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. And ye came near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire unto the midst of the heavens, with darkness, clouds, and thick darkness. That's when that chariot landed on top of Mount Zion, Mount Sinai, Mount Zion. Well, one of them. All right. And the Lord spake unto you out of the midst of the fire. Ye heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude. Only ye heard a voice. So out of the midst of that fire, the sun can't speak to you. All right. And he declared unto you his covenant. He commanded you to perform even 10 commandments, and he wrote them upon 2 stones. There are more than 10 commandments. There's 613 laws in the Bible. But the 10 commandments kind of sums everything up in a nutshell. All right. It says, and the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgment, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go over to possess it. Take ye therefore a good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that the Lord spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest ye corrupt yourselves. This is getting to the point, and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female. So you got them doing this with the sun god or goddess. All right. It says, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, or the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air, the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and this is what's basically going on. All right. It says, lest thou lift up thy eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, shouldest thou be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy power hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. All right. So that's just the point. That's just the point. All right. Unless you lift up your eyes, and see these wonders in heaven, these marvels, and it is marvelous that the sun and the moon go throughout their course and they never get off track. They haven't, Earth is like 14,000 years old. They still haven't got off track not one time. Slack. They didn't get off track not one time. And I'm going to close it out right there. I'm going to do another part that's saying that Yahweh is above the firmament, meaning he's above the moon, the stars, and the sun. All right, with that being said, I want to give all glory and praise to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Harakakadash Ma'amam. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to the Akim that are pushing the truth and sincerity and truth, and peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, Shalom.